Good morning and welcome to Park Talks. This is Daniel. Park it and let's talk about it.
Good morning. Today's October 18th. Today's strength is taking the long view. That is why we never give up. Though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day, for our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 17. The Apostle Paul said his trials were momentarily light, small troubles. Do these sound like small troubles to you? 5 different times the Jewish leaders gave me 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. Once I spent a whole night and a day drift at sea. I have traveled on many long journeys. I have faced danger from rivers and from robbers. I have faced danger from my own people, the Jews, as well as from the Gentiles. I have faced danger in the cities, in the deserts, and on the seas. And I have faced danger from men who claim to be believers but are not. I have worked hard and long, enduring many sleepless nights. I have been hungry and thirsty, and have often gone without food. I have shivered in the cold, without enough clothing to keep warm. 2 Corinthians 11:24 through 27. And Paul wasn't finished. We may not have to face these severe trials that Paul did, but just the same we can begin to lose hope as the accumulation of thousands of small trials take its toll, and as life becomes wearisome. By God's grace, Paul was able to view his trials as temporary, which they were, and not as that big of a deal compared to eternity. This perspective certainly didn't come to Paul easily or automatically. Like us, Paul needed to learn to value the things of God so highly, to give them such weight that everything else would pale by comparison. How about you? What do you care about most? Bottom line, thank God that this life isn't all there is. When we live for the next life, we discover that things aren't so bad. Live today with eternity in mind.
What can anyone say in any language that does not require all God has made or gave you? In Genesis 2:7, God gave us dust. Or He created us from dust. The very next part of that scripture, He gave us breath. Man became a being at that time. Some translations say consciousness, and some will say soul. The dirt will weigh exactly the same amount the moment the last breath you take leaves. When you look at who we are and what we do, all in all, we're about the same. Maybe a little darker skin, maybe a deeper voice, maybe a gender difference. But all in all the dirt piled together, it's all about the same. If I go scoop sand in California, and then some over in Iraq, dig some sand up in Iceland, it's all in all going to be about the same, made up of the same stuff. They say that there's about a 0.2% difference in each one of us as far as our genetic coding and all this other stuff. All the other differences lie within our consciousness, in our thought. Thought has to be programmed or put there. It's not just something that a baby is not born as a rocket scientist. They have to be developed. So when you combine your thoughts, to bring your thoughts to life, you either have to animate them or speak them. When we speak them, we'll combine all the elements that we're made of, the consciousness, our breath, and the dirt, voice box, of course, to create a word, statement. In every language, try to say something without using any one of those 3. A lot of people say that they have mindless chatter going on. Well, disagree. It requires the voice box, it requires the consciousness, the lips, the tongue, everything to work in synchronicity with the breath to say a word. I wonder if that's why the scripture says that we'll be judged by the words that come out of our mouth. Now, in Genesis 3:7, the dust, with no breath left in it, is no more. It returns back to the dust. Now in James 3:5 and 6, we'll see, so also the tongue is this one of the smallest members, yet it boasts the greatest things. How great a forest can be set ablaze by such a small fire, or even a spark. Verse 6, the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. It's almost a world of its own. The tongue is set among the members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life. In James 8:12, no human being can tame the tongue. It is restless evil, full of deadly poison. Our words have the ability to bring people up and smash them down. With it we bless the Lord, or we curse people. We talked a week or two ago about curses. You listen to somebody who curses in their language, the words that come out of their mouth. They're literally cursing their own life. Wait a minute. If we curse our own life, if we hate our own life, if we don't like the creation, by that alone we insult the Creator. I don't know how many times God cares about your opinion, but if it doesn't matter because you're only insulting yourself, why even say it? You bring it to life. Now in James 3:10 it says, my brothers, these things ought not be so. They really shouldn't be coming out of your mouth. Does a spring pour forth from the same fresh and salt water? If I got fresh water in my cup, can I pour salt water out of it? Not at the same time. It's one or the other. Can a fig tree bear olives, or grapefruit, or a grapevine produce figs? So, if from the depths of the heart the mouth speaks, okay, we read that in the scripture. Let's see the things that are in the heart. I've got 34 here. And ask yourself, out of these, how many of them directly are a result of thought? Okay, here we go. Short little list, 34. Adultery, anger, conceit, coveting, deceit, dissension, disorder, division, drunkenness, enmity, envy, evil thoughts, foolishness, gossip, hate, hostility, impurity, idolatry, jealousy, lying, lust, orgies, theft, murder, pride, quarreling, rivalries, sensuality, sexual immorality, slander, sorcery, strife, wickedness. And yes, just like we read in the New Testament, and things like this, things of this sort. There's a lot more we haven't touched on there. Well, what if I don't tell the whole truth? I'll just tell a little bit. Well, again, that comes out of deceit. And in Proverbs 10:18, we see one who conceals hatred has lying lips, and whoever utters slander is a fool. Leviticus, we look at that particular book. We realize that Leviticus is a bunch of laws. But here's an interesting one that'll catch your attention. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, and you shall not stand up against the life of your neighbor. That's from the Lord. That's from God. Like, quit being mean. My version. And standing up against your neighbor is a direct violation of what Jesus talks about. Love your neighbors yourself. Okay? Now, what about these words? Where do we learn them? Where do we see them? Well, first of all, quite a bit of what we just looked at, that 34 items, that list, most of what we put into our system, into our head, into our thought processor, is where our thought actually comes from. So if I feel, because I don't know what I listen to in music, because of what I study in school, because of what this person said or did, that there's strife in it, strife becomes a part in what I focus on. Or we'll go with sexual immorality, or pride. What about quarreling or gossip? All of these start in our thoughts, and then they become our words. Here's the careful part. Matthew 12:36 and 37. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be justified. By your words you will be condemned. Words. How do I change these words into something that actually means something in life? How do I go from that liability type of living to the asset side of living? You can't. As a human being, we really haven't found that, because the heart of man is sinfully wicked. It follows after that list we just went through. Those are things that are created to satisfy the flesh. Search me, O God, know my heart, know me and know my ways. Psalms 139:23. Search me, O God. That's done in the silence. I know when I was looking for things I needed in the military, or when I was in law enforcement doing searches, and I don't mean on people, other searches, I was turning over everything that needed looked around, in, through, under. Even if it was suspicious, I had to check it. What if God was to tip your heart over and shake it out? What emotions would come out? What hurts in there? Try me. That's called a test. And you know what's crazy? Whenever I take a test, the teacher's always silent. I can't ask questions. How many people get in a test are a trying time of life? Oh God, why me? Why now? You can't handle the test. I'm sure you couldn't handle the answer. Know my thoughts? Where's your thoughts? Do they follow under that list? Because your thoughts will become your desires. They just do. They drop into your heart. Then your heart gives you an emotion about it, and that emotion, that electrical energy motion, then becomes the motion of your life, or the words of your life. The desire, when it is conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when fully grown, brings forth death. Just take that list and think about it. These individual sinful items, if you just looked at any one, or they're in alphabetical order, take any letter group. Let's go with L, lying and lust. Death of friendships, death of life, death of purity. That's just taking one letter group. D for D, yeah. Oh, D is actually one of the bigger letter groups. Deceit, dissension, disorder, division, drunkenness. Have you not made distinctions among yourselves and become judged with your evil thoughts? How often is it our evil thoughts about other things or people? It's not even something that they're guilty of. It's just the thought that we're holding, the guilt that we're holding them of. Had a conversation with somebody one time. By the time I got done, the only reason they didn't answer is because I forgot to speak the words. It was a great conversation in my head, and I think I won the argument. Ever hold somebody guilty of a conversation you had in your head about them? Use your words, but be careful with them. So where do we go from here? So life is kind of programmed for us to just end. Well, there's a good side to this. There's a place that we can actually go to seek where our thoughts can be. This shuts out a lot of the useless chatter, the useless background noise, the areas that drive our consciousness just in circles. We find it in Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, whatever is excellent, and if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. If we think about these things, they will become what's in our heart. From our heart, they'll become our actions and our words. Let's go back to the tongue and the negative words that we say all the time. James 1:26, he hits it very early. If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, he deceives his heart. This person's religion is worthless. When the scripture says they will know you are Christians by your love, it doesn't say by your words, by your life, by how much you gave, how much you worked, how much you worked. It's by your love. Speak love. We've been over that a lot of times, what love is. Now, the background chatter, where it's fed from, interesting interesting thing to put your head on. I call this one worthless chatter. Life is full of worthless chatter, okay? Probably come up with streaming YouTube or some type of a video streaming service, music streaming service, TV in the background. I know people that just leave the TV on with the excuse that the cat or the dog likes it. That's an interesting one to me. If you're gonna leave something just streaming in the background, for example, if I had a farm and I had a chance to just let the fields grow weeds, no production, nothing of value, that's a lazy farmer. These fields are gonna need beat down pretty heavy to return them back to productive soil. Well, let's say I have the tractor and whatever implements behind it dragging out there turning the soil. I think the term that they talk about in early spring is called brownie mix. Make it fertile, make it ready. Put the proper nutrients on there. And then I have another tractor a few days later driving all day up and down that field planting seeds. Proper rows, proper seeds, everything's ready to go. And then I step back, right after them seeds are in the ground, we hit what? The rainy season. Works that way, doesn't it? There is nothing I can do to verify 3 days after I put that seed in the ground that there's a seed there. Especially not if the rain hits it once or twice. I may be pretty rows out there, but I've seen no production. If I go dig that seed up and look at it, no production. So in our background chatter, in our worthless chatter, what if we make it worthwhile chatter? Just a thought. What I do for my life, try it if you like, just for a week. In the background, put on sermons, even when you sleep. Growth books, books about how you think and how you can grow through your thought processes. Yeah, scripture. Just play the Bible. There's a free app out there. Hit it, button at the bottom, hit play. Do it for a week. If you're not totally hating it, do it for another week. You see, our thoughts become habitual, habit thoughts. Habits take 30 to 45 days to form. So if I just start with 7 days of something positive, not just shutting off the background noise, because you'll miss it. Turn on something that actually grows. Put actual seed in the dirt. Remember back in the beginning of this, we talked about how we are dirt. Get rid of the worthless chatter. Stuff even between you and your friends. I heard stuff called water cooler chatter. That's some strange stuff. Oh, I get all tensed up inside and it just comes out of me. Yep, I get it. Even a pressure cooker has a relief valve. You have to let the relief off and you don't have to retort back to it. Psalms 46:10 tells us this. Be still and know I am God. And there's more. He says, I will be exalted among the nations and I will be exalted in the earth. You want something to focus your energy on? You want something to help block out some of the useless chatter or the negative that you told yourself about yourself? Focus on that one. One other one. This is one of my favorites. Jesus is speaking, so pay attention. Not me, but when it was written. It's in red. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works, yet give glory to your Father in heaven. It's not gonna happen if you hate yourself. It's not gonna happen if you're out trying to make the next big score. Not gonna happen if you want it to happen. And by the way, if you can see it, figure it out, make it happen, what do you need God for? Sunday morning maybe? You guys have a great week. This is Daniel with Park Talks.